Today we're going to do beans. We're going to do two types of beans. They're pretty much going to be, you can do them both the same way, either way, but we're going to also do two ways of doing it. One way is going to be an Instant Pot way, and the other way is going to be a traditional way of doing it on the stove. So we'll first get off on the Instant Pot, and then we'll break to the black beans on the traditional, all right? First thing we're gonna have to do is clean them. All right, so what you need to do is just lay them out. Is you kind of just pat it out, just pat it all out. You know, just because they always ask me, how do I know what's good and bad? And it's like, well, I'd say, I always tell them, whatever you don't like, put it in your mouth. So if you don't like to see that in your mouth, like if you don't want to see that in your mouth or that in your mouth, then take it out of there. That's pretty much what you mean by cleaning it. Later, another one what you're looking for is because how the beans are being processed. It's taken from the dirt and all that. So a lot of times you'll get things like this. Let's look at this, see if you can get that really good. Right there, that is a dirt pellet. See, if I smush it, it's basically dirt. And that's what you're also looking for. When you stick that in water with your beans, it's gonna be a mess. You're gonna be chewing like a clump of mud, basically. So that's basically what they mean by as far as cleaning the beans. I got 2 pounds of beans, like I was saying before, and so they're just dry. What we're gonna do is just wash them down. Now you do. That's why I got the colander. Just all I want to do is just kind of rinse them off, and that's just gonna clean off the rest. And that's, you know, just since we found those dirt pods in there, we just want to make sure all the dirt pods are all out. So that's why we're just gonna wash them through. Okay. Just to do a quick rinse on them all, just kind of turn them around. All right, there we go. So let it dry off a little bit. All right, so we went ahead and rinsed out the beans like I said before, and I've just got them in here so that you know we get water all over the place. The way we're going to do it right here is through the Instant Pot. So what we're going to do is take the 2 pounds of beans and in an Instant Pot. So all we're going to do is put them in there. Is what I like to do is I'll throw a couple of things of garlic, a couple of cloves of garlic. Just get about 3 or 4. I just throw them in there, toss them in there. Add some salt. And so just salt it a little bit. Don't put too much in it. It'll get salty. If you don't have like cloves of garlic, and you can actually do another thing is just do like garlic salt. Put that in there. Put a good dash of that in there. Another thing I like to do is get some like ham hocks, some some bacon would be another way you can do. You can use, just cut up a couple slices of bacon, throw it in there. That'll just give it a lot more flavor. So what I like to do is just grab a big old chunk of it, like that, and just throw them in there. All right, so what we got in here is, so we got the ham hocks, we got the cloves, we got just the dry beans in there, washed off, and then I'm just gonna get some water, pour it in there. Okay, so what we're looking for is on the Instant Pot, you'll see there's a max ratio for it. So really, that's pretty much how you don't want to go over that as far as the water. So you just kind of get it close to that, and that's pretty much how you want it. And so once you do that, we're going to put the lid on there. All right, and on the back part is just make sure you put it on, like on the Instant Pot, you make sure you kind of put it to the back. And you're gonna wait for this thing to pop up. So right now it's just sitting down. And then you're gonna put it on beans. There's an option. Or if you don't have the option of beans and stuff, what you're gonna do is set it for 60, we'll knock up to 60, or an hour, right? It's gonna turn on, and then you're gonna have to wait. The counter won't go off until it's up to pressure. And then you'll start seeing the countdown. So it's not going to take 60 minutes or an hour. It's going to take a bit longer, only because it's got to come up to pressure. And then the countdown will come down. We'll start to count down. All right? So we'll wait for that, and once it's all done, we'll be good. So right now it's counting up. With Instant Pot, you'll know what this means. It means it's already gone past the time that you wanted, the 60 minutes that we put. So what we got to do is do a release in the back. Be careful with that. when you do a release, see as it kind of steams up. Let's do a fast release on it. And then we're gonna wait for that to finally release. And the little tab in the back, like, as everybody knows, doing it has an Instant Pot, will know that the little tab will drop. So as soon as that tab drops, we'll go ahead and open it up, right? Okay, as you see now, the button went down. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this, but as you turn it, you want to tilt it away from you, because the steam's gonna all come out and you don't want to burn your arm or your hand or anything, right? So you turn it, like I said, and then you just kind of tilt it away from you. All right, just let the steam go that way. Okay, so as you go inside, you'll see this is what you're looking for. Look at that. Nice. See all the head. That's what you're looking for right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and plate it up and see what we got here. All right. So we got the beans. We went ahead and made a bowl. We went ahead and served a bowl of it. Kind of want to know why I didn't add the cilantro and stuff for also as flavoring. You can do it at first. It depends on if you're going to serve it right away, like with your guests and stuff, or to your family and things. You can serve it right away. You can add the cilantro at that time. The only reason why I like to leave it out and then add the cilantro afterwards is because cilantro, after you have enough and you want to put it away, cilantro kind of goes bad really quick. So it's gonna spoil the whole pot. So what I like to do is I add it afterwards. So whenever you want it, you can kind of chop up some cilantro and then add it to your beans that way. Or if some people don't like cilantro, they have it without it. So what I like to do is I'll just add like some cilantro. I'll get some onions, some diced onions. I'll put that, just whatever you want. You just kind of have it off to the side and kind of put some cilantro in it. And then I got some avocados. I chopped up some avocados. Just kind of put some in there as well. All right. There you go. He's got some of that. Oh, and also put some rice in it if you want to. I've got a rice mixture that I made. I'll go ahead and link this on how to make this rice, Spanish rice, my variant of Spanish rice. If you want to add some of that to it, I'll put that in the link above on the corner and on the bottom in the comment section. Okay, so if you want to add some of the rice in there, you can. So yeah, and there you go. Well, let's just go ahead and take a taste. Mix it all up. If you want to, just mix it up. Let's take a taste of this. Oh, that's good. Get a good big old chunk of. Get everything. Get some cilantro. Get some onions. Get some. It's gonna be hot because it's gonna be off the, especially off it. So it's gonna be hot, but it's gonna be good though. There you go. Beans off the Instant Pot. All right. Okay, so now for the black beans with the traditional, doing traditional. Okay, so like I said before, when we're doing pinto beans, is you can buy a 2-pound bag or a 1-pound bag, whichever way you want to do it. Or you can get like a scale like this, like we were saying, and then measure it out. Get a big, huge bag, and then whenever you want to, you measure out what size, how much you want. Okay, so we're gonna do just like I did with the pinto beans. We did what they said, what we talked about before. It was like a clean. Be careful. You like to go all over the place. You don't pour them right. Okay, you normally don't pour them right. But anyways, we're just gonna get these going, and what we gotta do is do a clean. Now with the black beans, you don't have to worry too much about cleaning them. They do a really well job on black beans, but you want to just make sure, just in case. You'll see one like that, where I just pointed out, where it's kind of
matches our counter.
Yeah. It's probably best to do it on a solid colored counter, or do like if you want to, you can do it, lay like a towel out, a white towel, and then do it on that. So that way it kind of shows the discrepancies on the beans themselves just a little bit better. Just doing it this way, I'm doing it off of this pattery counter. Makes it a little difficult, but it just takes time. You just go through it, just takes time. All right, so we'll just push those to the side. and we'll go through and do the rest of these. All right. I've already got it in the pot, and I didn't really show too much about the put it in the water and kind of clean them out in the colander, because we already discussed that in the pinto beans portion of it. And so what I've just got now is what they call as a pre-soak. And what you do is you just put the beans in, and either it's black beans or pinto beans, you're going to treat them both the same way. And what you're just going to do is just cover it enough so it fills it a little bit over where the beans is, because all you're going to do is let it soak there overnight. That's basically what you're going to do, is just have it pre-soaked. That's going to just soften them up, and so that when you start cooking them, that's what they just let it soak for overnight and stuff. All right, so from there on out, that's what we'll do. And we'll see you in the morning. Okay, so we let it soak, like we said, overnight. And so what we got to do is it's kind of okay. What happened was that it kind of went double in size, or it didn't really double in size. It just got a little bit bigger because it's actually soaking up the water and softening up a little bit. So that's what we want to see. And don't get with black beans. You'll see the water turn black as well. That's why you can't really see through it. But with pinto beans, you won't see that. But don't get worried if you're like, oh, what happened to my water? It got all black. It's really dirty. No, that's just how black beans are. All right, so what we're going to do first, what we need to do is kind of drain what the water's in there right now. So just be careful, because you got to just put your spoon or whatever you have in there just to hold back the beans. You don't have to take all the water out, you just want to get a good amount of it out. And then, see, like that, they try to escape on you there. And then we're just going to refill it back up with water. I'm only using this big of a pot, not because it's going to be that much. Use what you got, like I said before. So we're just going to fill this back up with water again. Like I showed before, we just went ahead and filled it up. I went ahead, it's like the beans are about here, the water's about here, so it's like 3 times the, or double the portion. So you got, bean ratio to water. You're gonna, as it's warming up and stuff or cooking, you're gonna go ahead and check it every so often to make sure it has enough water. You don't want it to dry out where it starts showing the beans above the water. And then you're gonna burn the beans at the bottom. And every so often you're gonna lift it up and kind of stir the beans, kind of make sure that it's not sticking in the bottom. But now with the ham, what we're gonna do before, like we did with the Instant Pot, we did the ham hocks, right? Or you can do bacon, stuff like that. With the ham hock, on cooking it this way, traditional, you gotta make sure it's thawed out. On the Instant Pot, you can leave them frozen. Because of the pressure and all that, it will cook it through. So we'll just add the ham hock there. Also with the garlic. Now we did the chopped garlic, or put the full garlics in there. Or I said what you can use is garlic salt if you wanted. Another way is just go ahead and get the store-bought where you have them chopped in a little bottle thing. You can have that and just throw that in there. My wife likes Himalayan salt. Just add a little bit. The ham hock itself is going to give it its saltiness, and then you can always add more salt. And what we want to do is there's 2 ways of cooking the beans on traditional ways. One way is you can turn on the heat and turn it high and just let it boil, and then until it's cooked. Or there's another way, like the way I'm going to do it is the way I like it, because I've tried it both ways and I like it this way, I prefer it this way. Nothing wrong with the other way, it's just faster cooking it, but I like it to be slow. So what I do is I just keep it on low heat, and both ways you're going to of high and low heat. You just put the top on and let it boil and stuff. This way I just like it the low heat and let it cook slowly. All right, so we'll just come back and check again later, and then we'll see where we're at. All right. Okay, so right now we're just going to go ahead and check it and see how it's doing. Make sure always kind of lift the lid away from you in case there's some steam and get all over you. So right now it's still working pretty good. And what you're trying to do is I'm scraping the bottom to kind of make sure it doesn't stick on the bottom. So I'm making sure to take it off the bottom. And basically what I'm doing with the spoon, I'm actually going to the bottom, just kind of scraping it, just kind of moving it around. Alright, so what you also want to do is grab one of the beans and kind of smush it, and see if it gets if it actually squishes all the way down. That's actually a little hard in the middle still. So what we're gonna do is just kind of let it keep going a little bit more. That's what I mean by checking it every day so often, okay? Okay, so we've been waiting for about, we've been actually cooking them for about 4 hours, okay? So you want them a little bit, and then just smush down and see how it, like there? That's good, so that's cooked. All right, there's a couple of them. Just push them down, make sure you get them all. So that's good. All right, so right now, we're good on that. So there's one way of, like I said, the traditional way as far as doing pinto beans or black beans, do it the same way. All right, so what we're gonna do is, we did one where we, the pinto beans, we actually made it into a bowl, we kind of put stuff in it, so it's like a bean soup in that essence. Or, I'm gonna show you a different way now. With the black beans, what you can do with the pintos as well is do a refried beans, is what they call refried beans, all right? So let's get set up for that. So now refried beans. Okay, so what they mean by refried beans is just, we're basically frying the beans back up again. After they've been cooked, you're just gonna fry them up. So we're just gonna get some oil in there, get that to heat. We're gonna get some, I like onions, so what you do is I'll put the onions in there. It'll flavor the oil. So when you're actually refrying the beans and stuff, it'll basically evaporate within the beans because it'll be real soft and tender. So once we start mashing them, it'll start blending into the beans. So I'll just stick these in here. And really it's to your preference. If you don't want to have the onions in there, that's fine too. I just like to have the flavor of onions in there. We're gonna let that go for a little bit. And what we're gonna end up doing is just scooping some of the beans that are in the pot and just put them onto the pan. And I've also switched to a regular ladle because I'm gonna take some of the juice as well as the beans and put it in there. So it'll help so they won't be so, it'll be easier to mash through because it'll mix into the juice as you mash. Wait a little bit, you don't want them brown, you're just trying to get it a little translucent. So right now it looks good. And this is the scary part, it's gonna start making all this, crackling noise and stuff, but that's why I take it off the heat and bring it close to the pot and put it there. There we go. Just put it on there, let it cook for a while. Start incorporating the onions in with the beans. That's basically what you're doing, is frying the beans. So we're just going to turn down the heat a little bit. Get it to a medium-low. And all we're doing is get a masher. They call it a masher. You do mashed potatoes, mash it. Same thing with beans. You're just going to rock it. Just keep going at it. Okay, it depends on how you want your beans and what you're going to use it for. Like if you're just going to use it and have it off to the side, and is one way of doing it. And another way is if you want to use it for like as a binding, like if you do like a tostada or something like that. And that'll be another video I do, so watch out for that one. Tacos and tostadas and stuff. Alright, so in this, as you're applying, this one's a little runny, a little bit. I mean, it's kind of holding a little bit together, but let's just say I had more juice. I'm just going to get some more juice and just put it in there. And it got really runny, and you're like, oh, that's way too runny. I don't want it that runny. I mean, it's more juice to it, just to make sure, just to say, it's way too runny. I didn't like it that way. It was just way too much. And so I can't, it's like that. Okay? So let's just say if it's like that. So what you do to fix that, you use flour. Okay, so what you do is just work at it a little at a time. Put like a spoonful. Dust some in there, just cover it a little bit, just like that, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to incorporate the flour into it. You want to make sure you cook up the flour because you don't want. That's why you're mixing it in there, so that way when it's in the heat, it's going to cook it up, and that's going to, you know, thicken it up for you, just like you do with other things. You know, if you know you incorporate flour just to thicken it up. See, and it's back to getting thicker again. Okay. So just make sure you get a good mixture. Mix it into the beans really well. You see how thick it's gotten? It's no longer watery and stuff. It's all holding its shape. All right, so let's just go ahead and plate it up how they got it. Like you'll probably find it in a restaurant or something. Okay, put this off to the side, and we'll plate this up. All right. Like we see in a restaurant, they'll sit there and give you some of this, or sometimes they'll give it to you runny. But here's one way of doing it. So you got your beans, right? And then they just put like cheese all over it. You know, that's another way of eating it right there. Just have it with cheese all over it. Or like we said before, you can do it with, you know, having it in a tostada, a hard shell, and you kind of, and that's basically what it is. You lay it down, and then from there, you can put the cheese on that and put like all the other stuff on it. You can put like meat on it. That's where we're talking about combining. You actually put meat on it, and it holds the meat from falling off the tortilla. All right. So here's another way of eating it. Look at that. Look at that. You can. Oh, look at that. Mix it in with cheese. The cheese melts all over. You know, so this is another combination. Another way of doing it too is you mix cheese into it, the beans. You can just into one of those big old tortillas, the bigger ones that you see at the store, like the bigger, like 10-inch, 8-inch, is mix it into that, or mix it the cheese all into it, put it onto that, roll it up, and make it like a bean burrito. It's another way of doing it. All right. So anyway, have fun.